Hello and welcome back to How to Connect with Humans. This is episode 7, and on episode 7 we have the adorable, fantastic,
amazing,
like full of fire. Even like her hair used to be actually like red like this, and now she's not so much, but she still keeps the fire. And it's Nicky Bartley. And so the episode today is called Wholehearted Leadership. And I would like to start her introduction by saying that Nicky was my mentor during my first year with Jamie Smart training on clarity, and she was such a strong influence for me. He just hold me. I had already been for like 2 or 3 years around the principle, and I can imagine that first image of me across the camera having a mentoring call wasn't very easy for her, because I came thinking I knew it all, and and here we were, like 2 strong women going like sort of measuring how much do you know and how much do I know and how much are you going to teach me. Though I usually look quite nice and docile, I think, but I don't come. Like, hopefully, Nicky, you still like thought I was nice, and she disarmed me with her kindness, but also with her strength and her powerful presence in about 5 minutes. And from that moment on, we laughed, we shared, we cried together. She's been incredible, and Wholehearted Leadership is about exactly that. She guided me to sort of then wanted to be a mentor myself, and when I did that, there was so much of her that came through me in those moments. And then you met Nicky a bit later.
Yeah.
Do you like Nicky? You can tell us.
I love Nicky.
No.
I love Nicky. I love Nicky. Yeah.
Really? So
paid him well.
Yeah. She's an award-winner transformative coach, and she works with different companies, and she actually will probably talk us about how to get there, but more that we're already here, which is my favorite topic. So welcome, and it's so nice to have you here. Hello, Nicky.
Oh, hello. I mean, what an introduction. Thank you. And hello, everyone. And I just want to say, I mean, we were talking about this just, weren't we, too, before we got on the call. And I remember that first meeting too, and I remember thinking, wow, like, Jamie has put me with someone who knows more than me. What the hell am I going to do? Like, because like I'd only come across the principles 12 months before, and I was like so new to it. But what I remembered very quickly in that call was, well, I'll tell you what I do know how to do is just be here with her and love her and learn from her too, because she has something special to offer. And that's kind of what we did then, isn't it, for all of that time? It's like, let's just be together. It was amazing. But yeah, I was really intimidated initially. It's like, oh, what am I going to do? And then, yeah, I fell back on that. Just do what you know how to do. And it was lovely. I guess as well, that was my first, since we're talking about wholehearted leadership, that was my first really experience of dipping my toe into what it means to lead without being in control or being the boss or having a title you know, to fall back on and all of that sort of stuff. It was like leadership isn't about position or any of that stuff. It's about a way of being. It's born out of those divine qualities that we all have. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Very welcome. And sorry.
Go on. I was just going to say, and I think we're, you know, everything being as it is right now, with everything that's happened and all of these weird and wonderful circumstances that we're finding ourselves in with COVID-19, and I think whatever our positions are on that, whatever view we take on that, I always remember that quote from Jamie that was actually Seth Godin's quote, and it was the first time I'd heard it was through Jamie, it was "Everyone's dying to be led." And I was kind of blown away by that. And I recognised that, wow, that yeah, everyone is dying to be led, me too. And that we all have a part to play. And I think now, even more so, like it feels like the planet is waiting for us all to do that.
So one of the things we're talking about, and I really, really love, because it's sort of like a similar experience, but also like you have accomplished tons and tons, Nicky, and a lot of us learn about this, and then maybe we feel we need to achieve this and then achieve the other and then get here, and when I get there, and you know, to go and approach maybe corporations or groups of people, and there was something we're talking about where you sort of thought you should be going and doing, and then what you find for yourself, which I think is very important when you are sort of like leading the way and showing others and helping them find their way too. So would you like to talk to that?
Yeah, and I'm, you know, we were talking about, weren't we, like during my journey, you know, very early on, when I was wondering what to do with my life. Now I've found the principles. Like, how do I take this out there? And I got those questions, but somehow I did know that wasn't it. I'd got this little pull inside me that that's the wrong question, Nicky, that's the wrong question. And yet still I kept asking it. And so, and I don't know when I don't think I had one insight that led to this, but I just gradually gave up on trying to achieve anything and accomplish anything. And I really do. I mean, one of the visions for my company is to create a world where everyone wins. And I don't see that we have to lose in order for someone else to win, or that I just don't see that. I think that we can create a world where everyone wins. And so I realised that by putting myself in line for someone else, with someone else, like they've achieved this, so what are you going to achieve? Not only was it invalidating them and what their accomplishments as a human, which are amazing, but it was having that impact on me too, and leaving me with all of this heaviness. I'm just like, can't be that. That can't be it. I can't be in competition with people and measuring myself. And so I stopped. I just found myself not doing it anymore. It's like, and that gave me space to not take anything I do very seriously. It's like, well, I'll see if this works, and if it doesn't, I'll try something else. Or I feel like doing this today, and if I don't actually feel like doing it by the time I do it, then I'll call it off. Let's call the whole thing off. and I really do kind of, I kind of do business that way, but what I find, which is really interesting, is I think if someone had told me you can do business and life that way 10 years ago, I'd have said, no way, is that true? Because you'll just end up letting people down. Like, what you mean you can just decide that day that you're not doing something? Like, you've got commitments. But I find that I don't let people down because I haven't got the heaviness around it that would stop me doing it if I'd committed to it. You know, so it's that, I guess, yeah, go about life lightly.
So I guess you so you deal with companies and corporations, and so how easy is to talk to people and bring them around this sort of feeling, instead of like, I guess you may have people that maybe they've been told to talk to you and not came. I don't know how it's the approach, but do you have the so-called difficult people in your
I think I'm probably one of those for them, if I'm being honest.
Well, local stockings.
I don't know. You know, really, someone asked me a question yesterday, and I can't even remember who it was. I'm really sorry. But someone asked me, oh, could have even been this morning, like, how do I deal with challenging people? And immediately, what came to me was that, like, I've never met a challenging human. I really know that I haven't. Just the same that I've never had a difficult conversation. Because if a conversation's difficult, I don't usually have it. I'm one of those people that'll say I'm not having that conversation. Or I might have it, but the difficulty was me. My reluctance to be honest, probably, during the conversation, and to own, you know, what's going on for me. And so then I'm trying to manipulate or change something in them to satisfy me. And that's the difficulty. And of course, they will feel that too. No one likes to have their point of view meddled with if it's really their point of view. And so I try to keep that in mind now. When it looks like I'm having a challenge or a difficult conversation, it's like, oh, this is you. This is definitely you. And what that's enabled me to do is not worry about having the conversations, because I know if the difficulty was with them, then I could be afraid of having the conversations, because that's outside of my control. So it's like, it's something you've got to stay away from. But if it's me, like, I've been dealing with my difficulties all my life. You know, do you know what I mean by that? It's kind of like, oh, yeah. So those conversations now are really welcome, because there's nothing in them in terms of me having to do anything with that person. And I don't know what that is in terms of, like, I can sit here and it might sound to people like I don't, you know, what does that mean though? But that is disarming. I mean, you mentioned that word, that is disarming for someone. And so it gives them that chance to get curious in that space. And so it usually works out fine. And if it doesn't, I'm fine with that too. You know, I don't mind people saying, you're not for me, Nicky. I would never work with you in a million years, because I just think, like, that's their view as well. I'm not for everyone.
And I love the honesty. You always have such an honest approach for my liking. And there's something also you were mentioning about, like, I got this, which is also very calming. Like, there's something in you that holds that space from this certainty, the thing that you see. And I know that we've been having conversations about, like, especially people that maybe are very close to us, and then
yeah, I think what you just said really kind of hit me. Like, as Carolina just said, we have conversations quite recently with people that are quite close to us, and I'm kind of thinking, oh, I can't have that conversation with that person because of this and that and the other. But this morning I was in the bath and I thought, why not? Most of my insights and ideas and thoughts come in the bath, which is really weird. And I just thought to myself, why not have the conversation? Why not just point? Why not just lay some seeds, see where they go? And I did. And they may have landed, they may not have landed. If they haven't landed, then I'll go back with a different approach. If it turns out that it doesn't completely land, or they're not interested, then I'll leave it. But I love what you said, that or what I heard was, the result's not on me. And for me, that's so freeing. It just, yeah.
You summed that up much better than I did. But it's so true, isn't it? It's like, and I guess that it just kept dawning on me that, and so some people might view it as courage, have the courage to approach people. But it isn't as much, and that might be true sometimes, I need courage. But mostly it's, I just don't see any point not.
Yeah.
When it's all up for grabs. And at the very least, I'm going to see something about me in that conversation, especially if it felt like a difficult or challenging one. That was about me. Yeah. And I guess, there's so many different views out there at the moment, isn't there? But I think I can see this common thread for all of us. Like, we're all looking for the same thing. We're all looking for, whether we are, some of the stuff that I'm hearing and seeing are, should we wear face masks? Shouldn't we? Which scientist is telling the truth? Which isn't? We're all just looking for safety. And I, having been someone who's for so long felt unsafe to the point where I wanted to die, it now feels like I just really saw that misunderstanding, like I'm always safe. And so everything's up for grabs and okay for me to do and try and be.
So when you say you're always safe, it just came to me something that happened to you, probably, I can't now remember if it was 1 or 2 years ago. And it was somebody very close to you, and it was a very difficult circumstance for you to go through that. I'm sorry if I'm bringing this, but it just came to me, so I'm going to bring it up. And that was really strong for me to see you go through that. Because even though you went through all the things you have to go, so that you are okay and you can see that people are okay, didn't stop you to take action or do things or do the right things or help the people that needed you to be there to take firm action. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but so that it's not just like, well, I'm okay and I'll just sit down here and look at.
No.
So
You know, I guess one of my clearest, and I can just feel this at my core, one thing that I'm clear of is that no one ever died from a feeling. Ever. In all the history of humanity, that's never happened. And yet I spent 45 years being afraid of my feelings as if they could kill me. And that was killing me. Like, people die from trying to do something about their feelings. And I just get so, I just know that. Like, I know my own name, I know that. And that saved me and enables me to not have to deal with my feelings or deal with anything that I think is keeping me unsafe, except the real stuff that makes me unsafe, you know, where my life might really be at risk in that moment.
because what I really like about you is that you're not afraid to say or go and take action, or you maybe are afraid, but you go and do it. I don't know. That's my. You're somebody that's saying, like, I realized there was like nowhere else to go, nowhere else to do, or nothing else to do, but still you took a lot of action, and you still take a lot of action, and so what I'm saying, for example, I'm curious about that relationship between the doing nothing on one side, and then there's a lot of action that comes with that.
Yeah. I think, you see, I've probably always taken a lot of action, but I used to take it in a different direction. So the action was all about keeping other people happy so that I could be happy, doing what I thought I should so that everyone else could be happy and I could be happy. And now it's more about like, there's nothing off limits. Like, what do you want to, like, literally, what do you want to create? And if nothing's off limits, that means I can. So I'll give you an example. So 12 months ago, I decided that I wanted to do an audit of stress in the workplace across the UK. And I know that it's been attempted by several people, and they stop for whatever reasons. It kind of doesn't happen. And so I got rid, and I just thought, you know, with everything, with mental health, that, you know, so at the forefront, and yet we're still only sort of scratching the surface into what is really possible with mental health and senior health. I wonder what I could do with it. And so I thought I would love to do an audit in the workplace to find out how stressed our nation is. And then we can go and deliver interventions that shows them where that stress comes from. And so I approached Keele University and I said, look, because I kind of knew that I wanted it to be robust and tested, and I intend this to be taken up by the government. If I'm going to make a real impact, then I've got to like get into those places. And so I approached the university, and they were like, wow, that's amazing, brilliant idea. But I kind of knew that they obviously hadn't heard of the principles. And so they thought that was coming from the standard place that you come from with these things. And I thought, I don't even need to mention it, because this is mine and I'm going to do it anyway. And so, yeah, so we just started creating this audit, and they kept saying to me, you know, Nicky, this is massive. Like every few weeks. And to me, it doesn't seem massive. It just seems necessary and fun and a really cool thing to be involved in. But other people's reactions to it are like very different, you know. And so, yeah, it just doesn't seem, it seems work that I love doing. It's important work. I know it's going to change lives. But is it something that's that serious that I have to get, do you know what I mean? That it has to look a certain way, or be, it's like, no, it's just a little audit. Yeah, so so the result of that is like I have the space to take action, I guess, because I haven't got the heaviness around it that would stop me, and I'm not doing all of the other action that I used to do, which was really just spinning the hamster wheel, trying to keep some sort of balance. Like, who needs balance, really? So yeah, I take action from that space more often than I used to, and I won't say fully, but I know when I'm back on the hamster wheel again, because I can feel it.
Yeah. I love that, and it's that same freshness that I always feel with you. It's like if you tell, okay, you know, some 5-year-olds, we're gonna talk to some people. Okay, we're gonna talk to some people, like, because I think as adults we just go like, oh, we need to talk to the government, and then it's just like, geez, you know, it's like, oh, whoa, like the government doesn't even have a face of a person. It's just like, you know, some sort of like mysterious monster that you have to try to approach. And
Yeah.
we just go like even the word audit, I have thinking about it, but I just go like, oh, we'll do an audit. I don't know. That's
Well, it's the, you know, the thing is, I'm talking to business leaders like quite often, and they're telling me how much money they're spending on mental health. And I ask them the question, like, why? And they say, oh, you know, well, we have this responsibility that the Health and Safety Executive give us under the Health and Safety Act to protect our employees and make sure we're not, you know, stressing them out and blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, okay. So what have you done this year? And they'll tell me what they put in place this year. And I'll say, show me the results. And they all go, and that's really curious to me. So I love sitting there playing. I'm a bit naughty. So it's like, so I say that on purpose, like, show me the results. Show me you're well, people. Because it's like, what is the point if we're not showing people their wellness? What is the point in even showing them their illness, which is actually what we're doing in our society right now? It's like, you know, so the whole audit is based around that, really. It's kind of, we can spend our money when it's most needed, and we'll do the best work and produce the best outcomes. And so not only will the organisation be more profitable and wealthy and be doing good work, but your people will be well, you know, and that to me is just the driving force behind it. And that's like that's more important than how I feel about having a conversation with the government. They rang me yesterday, you know, so that I had a government official ring me yesterday about the audit. And it was a funny conversation, because I don't know how I'd have felt about that 7, 8, 9 years ago, you know, like it would have felt like, oh, I'm speaking to this really important official. And let me say, he is really important, but he's no more important than you and me and the people he serves and everyone on this call. Like, we all have that infinite value.
And I guess that's the thing, is just seeing that we're all just human beings trying to do the best that we can. And whether you are in a place of more power or not, but if whoever is in power trying to bring better results and helping people around mental health, and what they're doing is spending money, you know, putting a lot of effort, a lot of work, and as you say, the results are not that good, then what you just have is a human being feeling a bit discouraged, and like we all will feel, trying to do the best and not getting much out of it. Yeah. So talking to another human being like you that can say, well, maybe there's another way.
Yeah. And I think there are so many of us doing that work, and I'm just doing it the way I know how, that makes sense to me, and you're doing it the way you know how and makes sense to you, and everyone on the call is doing it their way. And I think that's what it takes. It takes this collective consciousness. It's not about one person doing the right thing to get this understanding out there. That isn't leadership. It's about knowing that we're just all part of this whole, doing our thing.
I think, because also we have such a wonderful group of people here. When we have people that we don't like very much, we don't ask them questions. That never happens. So that never happens. We have really, really, really lovely people, and I'm sure you're curious too, Nicky, to see if there are any questions. And also, you know, most people that I can see in this call are doing really great things, and so I would love to hear from you. Let me see. So you can either, what do we need to do? Like some unmuting, but you may need also to unmute yourselves.
Yeah.
So feel free to do that, or write on the chat, and we can ask the question for you, or raise your hand with a little hand down here. So we just will wait a minute, see if there's anybody who wants to ask a question.
It's okay if no one's got anything to ask, that's fine. I can carry on talking for hours. Or we can just sit here and have a nice time for hours. But it's a really funny thing, isn't it? This notion, this idea of, and that's really what I see in leadership, and why, like, everyone is doing something great in their own way. No one's doing more or less or any better. Like, it's all valid and valuable and intrinsic to creating this collective, universal rising of consciousness. Like this evolutionary thing that's taking place that, you know, I'm not sounding very like but there's something happening that we have no words for. Like, everyone has a part in that, and that just fills me with so much comfort.
Yeah. We have Lee that wants to ask a question, but Lee, I can't unmute you.
Hi there.
Oh, there we are.
Hi.
Hi, Lee. So nice to see you again.
Hi, yeah, you too. Actually, again, trying to formulate the question. Well, I had a weekend where I just had a few kids, teenagers. And normally, this goes down really well. They're really open to the idea of the principles, and we do like different sort of exercises just to keep them interested. This weekend, oh boy, I as you can tell, I'll say quote unquote, and it's almost like I did fail miserably because it was like I had to just almost like this situation. I know you're comfortable in this situation, but you know how there's just no interaction. There was absolutely no interaction. And I felt like, have you ever seen that film, The Three Amigos? You know, I'll just describe it. It's Three Amigos. It's what it is. They're actors, and they're like shooting in the sky, and all the bad guys just run away, and they think they're amazing, and then they go out into the real world and realize, this is not the case. So this was how I felt in this moment, and I'm just curious, as you said, Caroline, I don't know why I can't see it, Caroline, but and as you said, I'm saying Caroline, sorry. Nicky, I apologize. You said that the communication is basically what you give. I'm just curious because my communications seem to be the same. I mean, would it be my communication in my energy? Is it like, hey, you know, you win some, you lose some? I mean, I'm somewhat baffled. And it's so easy to blame. Oh, well, they just weren't into it, you know? It happened so well previously. I was giving the same content. What do you think? Was it my energy? I mean, what comes to mind, do you think?
Well, firstly, I've had lots of those experiences.
Oh, thank goodness.
Lots, like seriously, lots. And I didn't know there was an alternative experience for a while. Like, it was kind of like, I'm just going to do this and see. But there's something in doing that. You know what comes to mind? Like, okay, so it looks like it bombed. So what? And you know, when I have things that bomb and fall flat, I have a choice to go back and say what happened there, or to just like press next.
Right.
Because I will learn something as I move along, you know, either when I go back or when I press next, like, because it's always me, it's always, and I don't think it's about like, see, the miscommunication is about what's not said rather than usually what's said. Like, more is communicated without saying it. Yeah, I don't even know if I can add anything, and I'm not even sure if that's helping. But yeah, I've had that. I mean, the first talk I ever did around this subject was, my daughter was an apprentice hairdresser. She was 16, and her boss, her manager, said to me, "Tell you what." They got like a chain of hairdressers, so they got several, about 20 apprentices. She says, "Come in and give this talk to all of the apprentices on confidence, because I love what you're saying." Oh my God. Honestly, like and I hadn't been nervous, I hadn't worried about it, I hadn't had it on my mind, completely confident myself, until I got in that room and was met with 20 16-year-old girls that looked like they just didn't even recognise me. And my daughter slowly dying at the front, that her mum's the most embarrassing. And all of a sudden, what came to me was, how am I going to impact these? And I spent all day talking nonsense and not really impacting them. Because that was the only thing on my mind.
Right. Got you. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely.
You know, when people seem to get impacted, when I'm open to getting impacted too by them, like when I can go in there and see me in their eyes and in their heart.
Nice. That's excellent. Thank you.
But don't be afraid of bombing. It's,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you had me at it. I've been through it so many times.
You know, it happens in sales conversations sometimes. Like, it's when I'm up in my head, generally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you so much. I think I started in my heart and went straight up to the head.
Yeah, me too. I get you. I get you.
Right.
But I like telling people that.
Yeah.
You know, I went back to that salon a few months later and sat with those same girls and told them the truth.
Oh,
I just said, like, you know, when I was here and I was talking shit to you because I was so scared to talk the truth to you and be vulnerable and honest and not worry. And this is what I had going on. And they all went, oh, that's how I feel when a new client comes in.
Oh, so, you know, that really strikes a chord, because that age-old thing, it's what I teach, right? And you just really struck a chord, because that's one thing I didn't do. Yeah, that's so true. I wanted to. Yeah, that's really really cool. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I'm brave to go back.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think that's super useful for all of us, absolutely all of us. We have Diane with her hand up. Also, Martin, I'm not sure if this was a question or I'm not. Do you understand the question, or maybe just come back with us and type another?
No, it was not a question.
Oh, okay, thank you. So, Diane, can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Lovely, thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Nicky. I came in late, and you were talking about masks and not masks, so I'm not even sure if it's relevant, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway, because I think there's something for me to learn. I'm having difficulty with the misinformation that we're getting from governments, health, and with masks and not masks. And I'm trying to remain open to the uncertainty of not knowing exactly what's going on, because I think as much as we dig, we'll never really know what's going on, because different countries have different regulations. My difficulty is that and this is the rebel in me, and what I'm seeing is, I'm finding that there is in my mind, there's some form of agenda. There is profit over humanity. And I wonder what I can learn. I'm not sure if this is a question, Nicky, and you said that we're always safe. And the other part is, what do I do with the questions that I have that seem to be coming, even if I don't want them? It seems to be recurring in me, this thinking. Obviously, I'm faced with it all the time. But there's time when I'm saying, okay, right, it's all jolly good. I know what's going on. I know how my head is. But at the same time, I feel I need to speak up. I need to take action. I need to put a post out there. I need to voice what's going on in my head. I'm not sure if that makes sense. I'm trying to learn from myself. You like clarity, and I don't think I'm being clear, Nicky.
I guess, like, I hear what you're talking about, but I'm not sure if there's a question in there for me with that. But yeah, I think that's going on for a lot of people, Diane. I suppose my observation, if you're okay with making one,
of course,
is it really that serious? So not is COVID serious, but is your conversation with yourself that serious, or do you just think it is? Because this is a conversation that you're having with yourself about what you should do. Do you seriously need to be joining in that conversation?
That's a good question. If I'm really honest, no. And when I follow the information, I say yes when I go down the rabbit hole. I think you've answered my question. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's funny. I mean, Diane, I have those conversations with myself regularly.
I have what?
I have those conversations with myself regularly. Like, not necessarily about the same things, but conversations in my head arise all the time. So,
for me, I've said yes. The thing is, I think of the 40s and the 30s when Hitler rose to the top because we were collectively quiet. And was that a serious conversation? Did Hitler rise to such power because we were collectively quiet?
So can I just stop you before you go on? Because I keep seeing this. I keep seeing this. And you know why I'm really not joining the conversation?
Actually, I've noticed that you don't.
Because I've come here to do work. And what I do is really, I don't need to tackle it by joining in those conversations. What I do deals with that exact problem. I raise my own consciousness and be responsible for that so that I can share my love and connection with people.
Enough said. I'm very touched. I can put my energy elsewhere, yes, and change the conversation anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. Loud and clear. I think it's guilt that I feel. Gosh. Okay. I've answered my question. You've answered my question. I wasn't quite satisfied.
Thanks, Diane.
Thank you.
I mean, for anyone that's listening to this, it's kind of, as someone who has been, you know, as someone who has been a fighter and that's approached change from the exact opposite place that I'm now approaching from, like, I can promise that the approach that I take now, the way that I am now, is not only less stressful, but it's more impactful. People want to be loved, they don't want to be hated. And everything has an impact, whether it's from a place of love or hate. And we get to choose how we do that. We get to choose how we lead when we're more aware of our intentions and our reasons, like what we want to put out there into the world. And so that this isn't about ignoring injustice or ignoring people being harmed, but it's about you know, I mean, I'm clear that I did not allow that on my watch. You know, that is just how it is. But I also know that to be part of a movement, you have to be part of that movement. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yes, I got it. In the first few sentences you said, I saw it immediately. So I can still be part of the change if I work differently, if I go for what brings me joy.
Yeah.
And what brings me joy is having conversation. And I'm having plenty of those. So I don't have to do, I literally do not have to do anything else but that. And that will cause a ripple effect.
Yeah.
That's it. And now I can stop the conversation I'm having in my head of thinking I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
Which was born from fear. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Diane, thank you so much for sharing that. And it brought us both to tears also, you know, also follow for what Lee was asking, and that this is what changes the world. This is what we see, that also having people like Nicky that are very clear on how they approach this, and that is not necessarily in the words, in the conversation we had, in the meeting with those teenagers that seem to have bombed, or in, like, there's something in us that if it comes with an agenda, and it comes with a feeling of anxiousness or being scared, then the message doesn't translate in the words somehow. But still, like, our presence and what Nicky's saying, like, I'm not in the business of like really having certain conversations. I know that what I do is impactful enough so that those conversations are not necessarily with other people or in my head, And it just, thank you, Diane, because your question was so deep, and so you open yourself to say something that probably answer questions for all of us. We both went boom, didn't we?
Yeah.
We just look at each other and was just like, so you see, this is how, this is for my liking, how we make changes. Like we just open a space here, we come together, we all ask questions, and we say, how can I do this? And then we are very lucky, as for example today we have somebody that is so clear to go and say, boom, that conversation, not thank you very much, this is what I do. So absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. I've really loved being with you all tonight. Thank you.
I think for me, I love that. I love the fact that it's what you were saying earlier about pressure. The pressure that you put on yourself when you feel uncomfortable to have that conversation with someone, that pressure that you feel, you're not going to be impactful as if it was just a conversation with somebody else. It's the pressure we put on ourselves. And to see that, it's just mind-blowing. It's really kind of like knocked me for six in a way. I'm just like, okay. But the beauty of having these conversations, as we've just said, it will just open up the world.
Me too. Like being on a call with you all allows me as well to. It's funny, isn't it? You know, like I'm just no expert. I get on this and I'm hit in the heart by each and every one of you. So thank you.
Thank you ever so much for being here. I don't know if there are any other questions. But anyway, so where can people find you? Oh, Susie, unmute yourself. You want it?
Hi, Nicky.
Hello, Susie. You okay?
Yes, yeah. I know we're just winding up. It's just you spoke about us all having this infinite value, and I know what that means, but I always enjoy hearing it deeper. And it just really feels that you do hear that very deeply. I really, really get that feeling from you. So I just wondered if you could say it a little bit more on that.
You know, it's I remember when we were at Clarity, seeing you being coached by Jamie at the front of the room.
Yeah.
And I remember you hearing that then. And it's probably one of the most comforting things for us as humans to remember, you know, because we separate ourselves with names, labels, price lists, all of that stuff. And of course, we know that separation is an illusion and that there's not enough money in the world to put on our worth, like we're just priceless. With there's just nothing that could, no amount of money could compensate for you not being here in my life. Like none. And so it's less about an exchange of anything outside of us and more about a gifting of everything that's inside of us. And living life that way as much as possible until we forget, of course. But we have little warning signs when we're forgetting, like the warning signs are something like, I need confidence, that feeling of needing confidence. It's just a little love letter from your soul letting you know that you're forgetting.
Even I need clarity is the same, isn't it? Actually.
Yeah. We've just got that thing to know, or like it's just with us, that little alarm is with us all the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're amazing. I love the space you come from. It's gorgeous. Lovely. It's really wonderful to see and to feel. It's great.
It's our space.
Yeah. But it just feels very evident in the way you turn up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Laurie. Oh, Lordy. As Susie will say. Right. It wouldn't be Nicky Bartley if I wouldn't see the tears here too. So and
love and joy and connection, they just blow me away constantly. They're just like, wow, these are the conversations that I want to get into.
Yeah, absolutely. Nicky, you are absolute sunshine. You have this beautiful way of bringing things to being very clear in very little amount of time, and you also allow for people to get there on their own, and that is a beautiful quality. So thank you so much. We can't thank you enough for being here and saying yes. Where can people find you?
Definitely on Facebook. I'm on there a lot. I have 2 websites, but I won't confuse you with that. It's probably best, the simplest way to find me is nickybartley.com, or my Facebook is Nicky Bartley too. Yeah, just hop on over and connect.
Yeah, we'll put it underneath. So you have www.thriveand-shine.co.uk.
Yeah, I do.
And www.nickybartley.com. But we'll put that underneath the video and wherever. And if you just need it, just let us know. So thank you again so much. And next Thursday, we're going back to Thursday next week at 6 p.m. Yep. We're going to have Steve Adair And Steve there was really at the very beginning of certainly our journey when we just met. I dragged Wayne. I said, like, we're going somewhere to listen to somebody. And I dragged Wayne to Brighton, Eastbourne?
I think it might have been Brighton.
It have been Brighton.
Yeah, I think so.
And we're going to listen to somebody that seems to be important. So a friend of mine was taking us. And I sort of knew Steve and Tony at that point. And I said, it's like somebody that was like a really good friend of Sid or something. And we arrive, and this lady, lovely lady, crosses the room, comes as like, oh, it's so nice to have you here. Oh, it's so lovely. And I'm picking my brain thinking, who is she? Do I know her? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then Steve comes around, and absolutely lovely Steve. And, you know, they were like the first ones to start something around here, sort of the southeast, and then they moved a bit up north. And then we sit down, and this lady ends up taking the talk, and she's Elsie's Beetle. If you don't know who Elsie's Beetle is, she was Sydney Banks' sort of like really good friend, sort of one of the first ones to hear this, and then took over with Chip Chipman, the school in Canada at Salt Spring Island. And so they were having, so Steve and Tony were having her at their house, and they have taken her shopping. And she was so excited because they have beautiful taste. And she had got like new shoes and a dress, and they dressed her up for the occasion. But it was just so sweet. And so that basically brings us to just say about Steve, and again that very sweet, kind voice we heard at the very beginning in just at like a church or a hall in a very small space where once a week they would do meetings, and it was just like whatever you could pay or not, and they were helping the homeless, and they were doing an amazing work with them. So they sort of started that, and then they left it to somebody else to keep it going. So Steve there is with us next week, and his talk is going to be called Being of Service, the
Sacred Observer.
And he's done, I don't know if you want to say something about what
Steve has been working in this field since I think it was around 1991. Currently he's got a podcast that he's called Men Behaving Kindly, which I absolutely love. When I read that, it melted my heart. And I think for me, on a personal level, Steve was one person that when I first came across this understanding, I didn't know what it was. For me, it was, it's just something else that's going on, you know. And I remember walking into, I think it was a church or something, and being greeted by Steve and Tony. And they did their talk, and then afterwards we walked back to the car because we were parked next to theirs. And I just remember having an enormous hug from Steve, just saying goodbye. And I was just like, I don't know what this is or what I've stepped into, but this is incredible. The love that these two human beings have shown me, who don't even know me from anyone, has just shown me is incredible. And it was just the most amazing experience of my life. So
wait, watch this. I'll be there.
I'm really looking forward to that next week.
Yeah, so you're very welcome to come in. Please come to this bath of love that is Steve. And he's so funny as well. So Nicky, we love you so much.
We do, thank you.
Please count on us for any crazy projects you may have.
Yay. Have lots of those.
Yeah. And thank you everybody for being here, and we'll see you next Thursday at 6 o'clock.
Thank you, everyone.
Lots of love
Thank you.
and hugs.